you have not been to a school board meeting, this is the part where you, by staying in the room, you are providing consent to be recorded. All school board meetings are recorded. Also, there's microphones in the room. Please keep your side conversations to a minimum because the microphones will pick your conversation up. All right? Neil, with that,
Thank you.
you're good to go.
Call to order. At this point in time, we're going to do the flag salute. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. At this point in time, I'm going to do roll call. Thomas and Grant have both excused this evening. Susie?
Here.
Michael? Present. And I'm Neil Turner. I'm the vice president of the school board, and I am present. All right, and on to, do we have any public comments for items that are on today's agenda?
Are these for things, items on the agenda? No. Then no.
Do we have anyone online? No?
No.
Okay. Moving on, we'll move on to our consent agenda. Do I have a motion to pass our consent agenda tonight? Michael moves.
I'll second.
Susie was second. Right. And with that, is there any discussions? Hearing no discussions, all in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? None? Hearing none? Motion passes. All right, we're going to move into reports tonight. And I believe we have a report from our student rep.
We do, and we have a new student rep tonight. This is Zach Hubbard. He's going to be with us tonight and then all of next year. He's the new ASB president. Well, as of, we'll say, June, what's the last day? 10th, right? So he's got some things to share with you tonight. And he's also going to stay around and speak to you a little bit about the ASB Constitution that you're going to be approving an update on this way. So thanks for being here tonight, Zach. We welcome you.
All right, so pretty much I'm just going to give a rundown of all the sports and clubs things that are happening. So baseball, they ended their season pretty well with a 9-10 record, and they were likely to finish their season. Fast pitch had a very good season. They were league champs and placed second at state, so we were very, very excited about that. Girls golf had 4, ended up going to districts, and one of ours were able to go to state. It was Mallory Gilbert. Boys soccer, they were barely made it to state. They beat La Center, and they did end their record with a 14-8. Our track team, they just left for Yakima today. 8 of them are going. We have the 4x2 and the 4x1 relay girls, and they've got first for the 4x1 or first for the 4x2 and second for the 4x1 at the district meet. And then Mercedes DuPont got first for the 200, second for the 100. And so she was able to go for all 4 of her events. And then Kaylin Black, she placed 3rd in the 100-meter hurdles. So she was able to go to state for that too. Gunnar Morgan, he placed 2nd in the 800 and 4th in the 1600, getting him to state. And then Dominic Delgado placed 4th in the 100, getting him to state. And then we had a thrower also make it to state. She placed 4th, Brooklyn Alfonso, making her way to state. And then in FFA and all of our clubs, FFA, Kayla Black also earned her state degree. So that was a very good achievement. Skills USA Nationals is just around the corner. I am very excited about that. I am one of the people heading to Nationals. There's 7 of us, so I'm very, very excited. It's the 23rd. And then our choir and band, they have a concert today at 7, and it is their last concert of the school year. So go help them out. And then finally, the end of the school year is near, of course, being the 9th, and then our graduation is the 8th. And then we had our elections last week. It was last Tuesday. So I will be serving as your president next year. Ethan Rodriguez will be our vice president. Lizeth Venegas as your senior treasurer. Ben Evans as your junior treasurer. Brooklyn Lane as our secretary, and Naomi Hayden as our public relations. And we actually increased our team. So we now have class representatives. So we have 2 from each grade, and we also have 2 from our freshman class that will be coming up, and I'm very excited about that. So our senior reps is Stanton Smith and Dane Aiken, And then our junior reps is Michael Dixon and Cooper Smith. Our sophomore reps are Chloe Bird and Isaiah Nelson. And our two freshman reps I'm very excited to have on our team is Alexis Wilbertine and Carme Hines. So, and then the one sad thing is we do have to see 4 of our old officers go. They were a great team this year, and I was very excited with this, but we'll be losing Tristan Nelson, Cole Smith, and Kaylin Black, and Ibach Castillo this year.
Thank you.
Thank you. Great throw. Any questions, board? Well, let us know how you do. I'm sure we'll find it out on Facebook with the going back there and competing. So, yeah, I wish the robotics team the best. Robotics and drones both, right?
And welding.
And welding.
That's
Nice.
7 of us.
So when do you leave?
The 23rd.
Tell us a little bit about what you're competing in.
I do the drones part of it. It's very fun. I was actually talking to our Congresswoman today, Marie Perez. So I got to talk to her and explain exactly what I'm going to explain to you guys. We have 4 different parts. The first part is like certifications because you're flying a drone, so you don't want to hurt anybody. And then we have how to fix a drone. So we have a whole drone that I could probably put together with 2 tools. And then we have the actual flying of the drone. I've had a lot of fun with flying a drone and I enjoy it very, very much. And then finally, we have the actual planning a whole autonomous flight where we can just take our hands off and we'll do all of it itself. And I love all of it so much.
Oh, wonderful.
Good luck.
Thank you and good luck. Awesome. Next, we're gonna have a report from Athletic Spring Sports Report.
Okay, good evening, everybody. Thanks for having me. Before I get into the board report, I'd just like to send a big thank you to our maintenance department and our custodial people under the direction of Ed. They're absolutely outstanding. They get busy and they get stretched, and I request for things to get done, and they find a way every time. Ed is, in my opinion, kind of a genius in his own right, an engineer. Justin and I've been working through a new timing system, and we kind of, and I was sharing with Nicole, the first 2 meets, because we didn't have the stand, and height is so important for that new camera. And we were operating out of the bed of my 94 Toyota at the finish line. It really spoke to me, Rochester, in that moment. But we tasked Ed with seeing what he could make happen in terms of a stand. And he went through the boneyard and the junk pile, I think, and just scrapped. And he made a stand that is more durable than you could find for $2,500 online. So we're really appreciative of Ed and his department and what they do for us. We often get compliments when people come to our venues to compete. They really enjoy coming here, and that's due to no short work on maintenance and custodial. So thank you for that. Thanks, Ed. Middle school, I've already reported on the previous 4 seasons. We're currently finishing up track. And I think a really neat part about track, you can still see that, I've been sharing that we're growing in the middle school in sports, which is absolutely fabulous. We've had to make some adjustments to accommodate for that. But there's a balance between boys and girls, and sometimes you don't always find that in co-ed sports. So, that's really positive. I have an opportunity to give just a little bit of shout out to those young athletes. They finished 7th grade district yesterday and will compete in 8th grade district tomorrow. But if you see these people, we have some top 4 placers in the 7th grade district yesterday. The girls 4x100 got 3rd, the boys 4th. Jada Jones won the shot, 27 feet 10 inches. Catherine Smith won the disc with 63 feet 9 inches. Charlotte Hill got 3rd in the high jump. David McClure got 4th in the high jump. And that's the report I have. Again, they'll be competing in 8th grade district tomorrow. And Mark will give me those results at that time. But they're doing a great job. Like I mentioned, one of the things that we encountered this year, which wasn't a surprise, but over the last few years, just numbers have been growing, and we get really stretched with the capacity challenge. Wrestling, for example, grew so big, we no longer can be in the fitness room. We're using the commons. Volleyball has been another one that's been explosive with 70+ kids out there and having to hire new people for safety and for balance and create new teams. It's a good problem to have. It begins to get expensive, but the trajectory is right. We want kids engaged and participating. Things are going well at the middle school.
Yeah, because that's
Yeah.
the crowd size bigger, since there's so many kids out for all these.
Yeah.
things. You see in
Yeah, it is.
the
It's
game.
noticeably bigger.
Yeah.
Yes, it is, for sure. So on to the high school. What an amazing spring, both in the classroom and on the fields. Academically, girls golf. Even with last year, I like to do that comparison. You see your multiple sport athletes in golf. But they get acknowledged at the WIA level for outstanding team award with a combined average GPA of 3.586. Baseball, it grew by 4. Not a surprise that we have 19 multi-season athletes out there, and although they did not get out of district, they did earn a berth in district. Fast pitch is another one that exploded, and we all know this. You have winning teams. People want to be a part of that. And so that's the biggest number that we've had. And conceivably, we probably could have gone to 3 squads. The problem with going into 3 squads is finding other schools comparable with 3 squads. So sometimes it's at an advantage to create a rotation and just have one JV squad, because that's when you're going to get your most contests. They were distinguished at 3.279. They were a number 1 seed going into district, and they earned a state berth. And there's a little bit more on that as we get through the slides. Boys soccer, you gave a little bit of my presentation, Zach. I appreciate you warming people up. Yeah, they had a great year too. They did make a state berth, earned a state berth, and I don't think that's been done since, I believe, 2013. We were a high seed. I think we got 4 district games, and 2 of those we got to host at the high school because we were a higher seed, and that's to our advantage because we're on grass. A lot of those South 1A schools, they're all turf and this and that, but so it was nice to get them to come up here and be on what we play on every day. So that was a bit of an advantage, and they're getting it done in the classroom as well. Boys track, Zach alluded to that. That program, those who are still alive heading east to state. That shrunk a little bit in the boys track, nothing to get concerned about, but they're still getting it done in the classroom, which is first and foremost. Girls track, they grew by 2, according to my calculations. Let's see here, and they're getting it done in the class too, strongly with a 3.497 GPA. And we'll see what they do. I know that Gunner runs at 5 tomorrow. I think Dominic in the 100, Gunner will run in the 1600. That's a final. Dominic is prelims. I think it's 620, and Mercedes is preliminaries in the 200. I think it's 650, if I remember it correctly. Justin, I know you're on it. Is that right?
100.
Huh?
100.
Is it the 100?
Yeah.
Is the prelims for the 2 on Friday?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Very good. League finishes. Fast pitch league champions, an incredible year. Boys soccer, they were 2nd in league of 9. Baseball, they got 3rd, which got them seeded immediately into the district bracket. They didn't have to play a play-in game. Girls golf, we had 5th. Our golf numbers were light, but we're proud and we're mighty. And Zach mentioned Mallory, and I'll do that again here later in the slides. Girls track, league champions, Kalen Black, and 100-meter hurdles. League champions in the 4x100, the 4x200, and there's the team. And Brooklyn Alfonso also run that in the javelin. Boys, Dominic in the 100, Gunnar in the 16, and the 800, LaShawn Hines in the high jump and the triple jump. District finishes. Fast pitch finished 5th. That was kind of a cluster, really. We were scheduled to play on Wednesday and on Saturday. But they forecasted rain on Saturday. And it's one of those things where you have to make a decision where to place these games. And you know with the decision, it's not an easy one. And you're not gonna make everybody happy with that. And this year, District 1, that consists of, it's way up north. It's Blaine, Meridian, I forgot, Linden Christian. But in Nooksack, thank you. So they're traveling a distance to be part of our district, and that was the avenue to postseason that was agreed upon. So those decisions don't come easy, and they saw weather coming in on Saturday. So they moved the game, Saturday's games up to that Thursday. And again, that's not an easy decision. It's not a unilateral decision. A lot of people have to agree to that. But what would happen if they didn't change that and we got rained out on Saturday? That's going to push those games into the first of the week, and then teams going to state. They could conceivably, some of them miss almost a full week of school, and we didn't want to do that. And so the decision was to move them up. But it was raining, it was dirty, and we had a really, really good game in that first game, and we lost by 1. And long story short, we got 5th, but we earned a state berth, and that proved to be successful in the end. Baseball played 2 games in district. Melly Gilbert, I ran that tournament, placed 12th of 22, and 13 got out to state. So district champions for girls track, Mercedes in the 200, the 4x2 relay. And I think it was Justin that shared this stat with me. Is that the 3rd time in high school?
Third best.
3rd best time in our history at the high school. And then the 4x100 meter relay too. So there's a good group of girls there that can get around the track, and when they get around clean and smooth, they're fast. They're fast, and we hope that lends itself to performance on the east side. Gunnar Morgan, champion in 16 and the 8. LaShawn, let's see. Yeah, and the high jump and the triple jump. I don't think he won those though, did he? No, I don't think those were his best. Yeah. But anyway, they're doing well, and now they're heading east to do their things, minus LaShawn. He didn't get out of district. Everybody else is going. State qualifiers, fast pitch, 3rd state berth in 4 years. They finished 2nd. They had a tie for 3-way tie for 5th in 2022. And their last top 4 finish was in 2000, and Andrea was part of that team. I don't think she started, but she. I'm just kidding.
Want to go to the grass?
Yeah, I had a conversation with Andrea. She was so hoping that we would place in a spot that beat the 2000 record. And we did. So it was a very exciting time. At state, boys were out in 2, but they hadn't been to state since 13. I mentioned that earlier. And then there's Mallory. She didn't see day 2 over at state, had a really tough front 9. But on the back 9, she improved by 18 strokes overall. And so she finished well, but it still wasn't enough to get into day 2. Girls track, we've mentioned them a few times now, but those are your people that are probably, they have to be there by now, I would think, in Ellensburg and settling in for the night, and probably on, I know we were able to get them on Ellensburg High School track for just kind of a run through and a warm up kind of thing, get stretched out. And then you see what Gunner's going to be competing in, and then Dominic, and that finishes the state representation for our district at state in Yakima at Eisenhower High School. This was so exciting over there. It was electric, and I'm communicating with a number of people here in this room about that. But they played some tremendous fast pitch over there. And when you get to that level in fast pitch, you really need to play some relatively air-free ball to stay alive. We opened with Kashmir. That was a play-in game. Loser goes home. We handled that decisively. Royal was the #1 seed from their side. And we played tight, and it was a close ball game right up into the end. And we beat them 3-1. Cedar Park, that score doesn't really share how close that game really was. Some of those points came right at the end, but it was nip and tuck the whole time. And then in the finals, we split with Montesano. They're in our league. We split with them this year. We 10-run them at our place. We lost to them in extra innings by 1 at their place, but they're just kind of this repeat program that have been on these big stages for some time. And if you're around their school or in their gyms, you'll see the banners. They have the stats to prove that. And in particular, you really got to play some error-free baseball or fast pitch with those people. And we had a couple errors that kind of turned the score, and we just weren't able to recover. But we couldn't be more proud. The energy was electric. The fans followed us over there into Richland. And Dr. Bethman came up from her leisure on the Columbia. It was great to see her, but we couldn't be more proud. And the celebrations in regard to this aren't over with yet. You know, there's gonna be a banner to join the other state banners in the high school. A little bit of a celebration, putting the trophy in the trophy case, which is on my messy round table right now in my office. But yeah, what a great spring. It's been a tremendous spring. And it really tells me, and I think it should everybody else too, that the 1A classification is where we need to be. So we've done really, really well, really well. Some all league honors. Fast pitch had coaching staff of the year. League champions, that was the last accomplished in '99, and I've already got a sport shingle to go up on the wall for that. No big surprise, someone who's been kind of the face of Rochester fast pitch here in the last 4 years. Lena Demers on the mound. She's formidable, and that ball's on you fast. That ball is on you really, really fast. So some first team accolades. Lane at third base, Cheyenne in the outfield, McKenna, she's good in most any spot you put her, but she played some shortstop, but most of her time was spent behind the plate. A good utility player. Rissa LeBaron at first, Leah Hartley, another utility player. She threw for us a little bit, but she was mostly on the hot corner. And then honorable mention, Piper Kornstrom did a great job in the outfield, and an up and coming athlete. That is going to be somebody to watch is freshman Charlie Cole. League defensive is baseball. So there's 2 MVPs right there. Cole Smith, he was our second baseman, and he was extremely solid. And so he got the nod for MVP. First team, Tayden Martin, he's the infield guy. Ethan Rodriguez, he's the outfield. That's not a new name to us. Second team, Bolton Weiss, an honorable mention, Simon Barth. Soccer, Justin Gochez, he's a junior, he'll be back. First team defense, Aiden Villanueva is a sophomore, he's gonna be back. Brandon Reyes Ibarra, I don't remember what year he is, but he's a second team, and then second team Milford and Jamie Rodriguez Moraz. And then there's Mallory Gilbert, she did make second team all conference in golf. Signings, these are people moving on to the next level. We've had signings for all of these people minus Cole, which we'll have next Tuesday. McKenna Basser's going to William Penn University in Iowa. I have yet to ask her why Iowa. I don't know if it's the corn. I don't know if she's got to get out of Rochester. I'm not sure, but maybe there's a program there. I'm hoping that she wants to be a part of. Lena's, no offense there, you're all right. Lena is going to St. Martin's just up the road, and then we have 3 people that are going to go to Centralia College to pursue their passions. So the summative accomplishments: 3 league team titles, 11 individual league titles. 14 of 17 programs earned WI Scholastic acknowledgements, 4 district champions. Now that includes some individuals, 4 MVPs, 27 all league. This is all year, mind you. 27 all league acknowledgements, 1 state level team sportsmanship award, and that was in bowling. 2 coaching staffs of the year, 9 individual team state qualifiers, and a 2nd place state team performance. And as we know, track and field is performing over these next few days. It's a great time to be a Warrior.
Who were the two coaching staff?
Football,
Football.
and faster.
Basketball.
Oh, girls soccer, oh, three. Can you change that number? That's what I have for you this evening.
Thank you, Kevin. I'm amazed. The kids are really stepping into it and the grades, wonderful to see.
That's where it needs to happen first, yeah, and they're getting it out, sure.
The multiple events that they're continuing to work on, so they're not just focusing on one sport, they're doing other sports. I mean,
Indeed.
lovely, wonderful. Any other comments, board? No? Thank you very much.
So I wanted to ask for permission. May I be excused this evening since I'm done? Do you want me to say?
Of course you're excused. Are you going to go see the band?
What's that?
Are you going to see the band?
Which band with this?
I don't know. Somebody said that band was having a concert right now, so.
Call me.
All right.
Hey, thanks, everybody. I really appreciate it.
They've traveled. Nowhere. You guys going like?
Are you going over to Eastern Washington now?
Yeah, come on.
I will tomorrow, yes.
Tomorrow.
All right, safe travels.
Thank you very much.
All right. Next, we have supporting every student's behavioral success.
Yes, and Laura
And
Staley is gonna tell us all about it.
I'm going to start and then have the real experts come up and actually be the ones to talk with you. So if we can start with our presentation, that would be awesome. Okay, this is on Canva. I am totally not comfortable with Canva yet, but I am learning, so I just want you all to know I'm gonna really work it. Thank you. I'm learning, I'm getting there.
She's doing great.
So we just want to talk a little bit about the work that we've done in the last couple years. It's hard to know which puzzle piece was really the foundation, but the point of tonight's conversation was based on a grant that was based on some work we did at the beginning of the 23-24 school year. And the grant is called Reducing Restraint and Eliminating Isolation. So when you see the RREI, that's what it's talking about. And this was started out at the primary school where we, at the time, I talked to Danny and Nicole, and Amy was still there and said, hey, we are having some struggles with the restraint and isolation in this building. There's this thing that OSPI is doing where we can maybe have some support in this to help us do a better job with the work that we're doing. That building just took off. I mean, took off from there. It's been amazing. You can go to the next slide. And this is the part that I want you to see first, is when we look at Rochester Primary School, from 22-23 to 23-24, an 80% reduction of restraint or isolation. And then from 23-24 to 24-25, another 73% reduction. Incredible. The building has done amazing. I got a call from OSPI saying, are your numbers wrong? And the numbers were right. And it's incredible the work they've done. And the team is going to talk about the work. I just want to talk about kind of the introduction of what we're doing. The school district overall, from 22-23 to 23-24, we had an 82% reduction overall in the district. From 23-24 to 24-25, we did have an increase. But the number, it was a small number. The numbers are really low now. So when you have a few added, it causes an increase. And I'm just so you're aware, half of them were due to students either running out into James Road or running out into Highway 12. And we frown upon that. We don't want our kids getting run over. So we're going to make sure that we keep them safe. We try to do things besides restraining them. But if they're going to go out on the road, we're not going to let it happen. We're not going to let them get hurt. And so I'm going to give you a really quick journey about this RREI and then let the folks here talk about the work. So we started this grant. OSPI came in and said, you have some high numbers. We need to support you in doing something with this. They'll talk about all of the many things we did. We were able to get some grant money from OSPI. And then they said, you guys are doing some good work. Let's give you some more grant money. And then this year, we ended up with more grant money around all of this work. And when we went into it initially, we were just trying to step in and be transparent and say, we know we need to make some improvements in this area in regards to how we're managing students and some of the behavior struggles they're having. And due to all of that work, we've had significant changes in data around restraint and isolation, especially at the primary school. So this grant was kind of the foundational piece of what we're talking about tonight, but the folks in the room are going to talk about the real work. And we have Danny Kearns from the primary school, Nicole Kernick from the primary school, Sarah Gerber-Kai from the primary school, and then Jessica Whitehead from everywhere. And they're going to talk about what's really happening in the primary, but the primary was the beginning place, and then we've started to move into Grand Mound and the middle school and high school, but the primary is much further along in the work. So they're going to share, and I'm going to sit down. I think we're first.
Next slide. Thank you. So we just thought we'd come along. I know in the past presentations that Nicole and I have done, we've gotten to share a bit about RPS's journey. And it has been one that we're really proud of because we feel really good about the work that we're doing there, and we wanted to share it all with you. But these are some of the highlights that we are going to share with you that we used grant funds for. So, Mr. Black, if you would, thank you. Nicole.
So up here, you'll see this word, and it is pronounced Ukeru, if you're running Ukeru, if you're wondering. In one of, when we're looking at problems of practice of a high number of restraints and isolations, we were like, what else can we do? Because staff are doing the best they can with the tools in their pockets. So what else can we do? And Jessica was like, hey, I found this thing. I'm not even sure how to say it online. It's called Ukeru. I don't even know if we do that's what it was called. And then she even, Mr. Easley, it's great that you're here because I remember her even talking to you like, do you have any like kind of like mats that we could use for this? It was quite the journey.
And he did.
Anyway.
He did.
Could have saved us a lot of money.
They were too heavy, I'll tell you that right now.
So it's definitely a journey figured out, but if you're not familiar with Ukero is a restraint and isolation alternative where you look at receiving students' behavior as a form of communication and understanding the why and the how and everything that comes from behind it. And so you'll see here some of the main focuses is really focusing on a comfort versus control. So when students are communicating to us, it's okay that we're not in control because really we're not in control and we can't make students do things. Okay? And so really understanding how do we help them feel safe enough and confident enough to communicate to us in ways that is healthy and that is productive for their whole lives. And then also understand the impact of trauma on the brain. So knowing that there's a high prevalence of trauma in the world that we live in and knowing like things preventative strategies is for prevention. So that's been a big focus of ours and we're continuing that journey all the time. But how do we help students get their needs met on a daily basis before they need to communicate to us in a really high, maybe an unsafe way through behavior? And we'll get to some of that through emotional regulation. You'll see some of our fun visuals here. We'll give a tour of later. And so the heart of Ukero is really a trauma-informed approach to navigating life. And I would say many of these staff who have actually had Ukero training have said the trauma-informed piece is actually helpful and being reflective in their own lives, maybe even as a parent. I can tell you it's been very influential, even myself as a parent. And even for myself, I'm like, wow, what's going on in my brain? And so thinking it's really helped us in so many levels. And this number, I don't think it reflects the last training we did. But part of the grant funding, we've been able to actually pay staff to be able to stay for training because, time is always a barrier. So currently, maybe plus a couple, we have 59 full Ukero certified trained staff members, which means they're certified in the trauma-informed approach in that prevention piece. And then they're also, as Lori was saying, isolation restraint is the last resort for us. So we're doing everything else we can. So that's where the Ukero blocking pad methods come in. And Jessica and I are currently our certified trainers and Kelsey Lincoln at the elementary school. And I think we just came up on our 3rd Ukero anniversary.
Yes, we did.
Yeah. And then this might be a little out of date too, but about 26 staff members trained in the trauma-informed certification. So, and those numbers will grow, I think on like June 9th or June 10th. Oh, not the 9th, the 10th and the 12th or the 11th. We have, I don't know how many people signed up, which is also funded through the grant.
Yeah, I think we'll have about 20 more people that get the trauma-informed portion of the training. And we offered it to anybody in the district that wanted to attend.
Okay, and so that is Ukero, which we're using, and actually Jessica and Nicole were just asked to do part of the presentation in Salt Lake City with the president of Ukero. So these two ladies are moving mountains, and I'm very blessed to be able to work with them. One of the pieces I love to highlight here is just the trauma-informed instruction for staff. And when they talk about it during their trainings and they show the brain scans of what happens to students who have suffered ACEs or critical traumas in their life, it's you better understand why the neural pathways are compromised and we don't get the expected response that we want out of students sometimes. There's a scientific reason, and that is very eye-opening for our staff. So the next piece is another component of grant funding. We did or worked with University of Washington. We did a Project Echo for parents and a Project Echo for staff, where they covered these topics. So the session topics are there with reinforcement of student behaviors, antecedent behavior consequence, function of behavior, antecedent preventative strategies, and the list goes on. So there was a component that was, again, building staff capacity to better understand how to manage and approach behavior. But the second piece was a case study where you could put in different behaviors that were causing some kerfluffles. Like, what do we do? How do we help with this? And the experts from UW, they had a team of people who would provide insights. It's basically coming from the healthcare world where they do more of this work, but this is specifically for behavior. We were not a part of any of the parent sessions. I couldn't tell you how those ended up going for our parents, but they were provided at a lunchtime where parents could come and talk through behaviors with home too. And then we also, with University of Washington, partnered with Julie, and Julie is amazing, but she works with coaching for special education. So she's done some work in our building with our special education teachers, coaching through making plans for students that have significant behaviors and how we can have inclusive design in specially designed instruction. And she's also worked with Nicole and Laura and I as we debrief things about how we can systematize some things so that we have a better system moving forward for our kids that receive special education services, and all kids, to be honest with you. But Julie's been amazing, and that has been another component of where she's not free, but that's where the funding has gone, is for her to come and do some coaching with us, which has been awesome.
I had one thing.
Mhm.
I just want to say Julie is a good example of where she has given us a number of resources about better practices for students with disabilities. And so it's really powerful because it's not just, how do we reduce restraint, but how do we just better serve students? How do we have better programs, better practices, better routines, all of those things. So it's really been nice because we have that whole foundation of what we need to be doing for kids, as well as some of those other pieces like the Project Echo that's more in the details of this is a specific, really challenging student situation. So it's been really a gamut of support
Yes.
from the UW.
So that was one of our,
From the UW, in case anybody missed that.
they did send her free swag. Other areas where we've spent some funds, we have continued with some right response training. So right response is another method of prevention de-escalation for students. We've also done RBT training. So Jessica here does our registered behavior technician training. How many registered behavior technicians are going through right now? 4?
We have 2 that are certified currently at RPS. We have maybe 2 at GMES, and then 2 going through training at RPS.
So again, providing the staff capacity with what do we do with kiddos when they're having the behaviors and how do we monitor and help with that? And Jessica leads that work, and they come through with it with certification in that area. So it's awesome. And then the co-regulation and regulation is one of the pieces that started all of this. So we come back to, again, building our capacity to better understand. And this book Jessica brought to us, our staff went through and continues to reference when we talk about different topics within the realm of regulation with students. And you can see we have a friend here, his name's Braden, and he is using one of the regulation spaces. Swinging can help with regulation of students. It's the type of input they get from swinging. proprioceptive. That's why I work with these guys. They know. all of this. But he gets a lot of that from swinging. So this is one of our sensory spaces at RPS where he does that inside. So it's great. It's great work. They're all doing wonderful, wonderful things. And I just get to say yes or no, and they make it happen. But the next one is Nicole's going to talk a bit about where we've put, and you can see some of the things represented here, but some work into tier 1 with the grant funds, which has been a big highlight for RPS. If you haven't been there lately, there's lots of things going up and around, and Nicole's going to share some because she got to design them in Canva. Laura, you and I probably a level 2 in Canva.
Yep.
They are definitely level 4s.
We're getting there. We're getting there.
I do enjoy it though, so
Mhm.
although I realize this takes a lot of time, I understand this is hard work just to get it all done. But you'll see here, so part of helping all of our students be successful in inclusionary practice and across the board at tier 1 level, all students, we want to ensure that wherever our students are, they have access to tools and language that they have been taught. And then also things like voice levels. So when we talk about what is a voice level, well, we found out doing some tier 1 audit work this year that pretty much every common setting we had a different expectations for our kids. And that can be hard for us adults at times, right? When we're trying, okay, what am I supposed to do here? What am I doing? So we worked as a staff on all 3 of these. Most of them came at our foundations team level, so our building behavior level, and then some of them extended a little bit further. So our foundations team came together. We talked about here's kind of where we think we are, but we need our whole staff to be on this. So like voice levels, for instance, this was every single staff member's input. We came up with a common language. We decided on what visuals we were going to use. Same with Warrior Way. Respectful, responsible, safe has been around for a while, but one of the things for accessibility for our students is not all of our students can read these words. And we also know best practices are visuals. So we did come up, which was also very challenging, with some visuals to go with those as well for our students. And then you'll see where's your brain, and they might talk about that a little bit in a sensory space. But when we talk about students showing us how they're feeling or trying to understand their emotions, we talk a lot about where their brain is, and all of the students are taught this hand-brain model. So this one, for instance, you'll see, this one will be on the playground. So we'll have these universal visuals throughout all school settings in every hallway. These, yeah, we wear these around. If you ever see us on campus, we always have these on.
And these are for you.
Yeah.
With grant funds. You come visit.
Yes, I do.
You might need one too.
So if you were to go up to a student at RPS, I would feel very confident if you said, where is your brain? They would be able to tell you where it is and why.
Yes.
And so as we work,
If they're in their red brain, they might just.
yeah, they're not supposed to be able to do that in their red brain. It's the feeling brain. Okay, not gonna happen, but they would be able to tell you that. And so that has been a really awesome. Sarah GK heads up a lot of that work with our scope and pacing and our cell guide. Yeah, and also, of course, we're a dual language school, so you'll notice every single one of these is in both English and Spanish. And we have really set that as the expectation going forward with everything that we have. And so you'll see that represented on every single visual moving forward in our building.
And with our grant funds, we did get these nicely laminated and ready to go. They'll be in every space.
Yeah.
Expectation is that they'll be.
Yeah, every classroom and every space. So in classrooms, they'll be this size, exactly this size. They're laminated like 5 milliliter. And if you know anything about lamination, like that's nice. And then these, like this will be on the playground. And then we'll have this same size of these posters for all of our common area expectations. Playground, cafeteria, gym, front office, hallway, bathroom. And so our kids are going to know what to expect. They will be explicitly taught in visuals, videos, lessons from their amazing teachers, and that will hopefully in time really increase their amount of safety and belonging at our school, and we'll start seeing them be able to communicate even in more ways as they get there. And one more thing, Danny, you'll notice, we're putting, he left. Okay, high school though. We're putting blue and gold everywhere in the school, our PSRs everywhere, because we're making some warriors here.
Yes.
We're proud, we're strong, so.
And I think if you came to RPS campus, it's important to us that when you walk our halls, you can see what we value. And right now you're going to see a lot of kid pictures. You're going, our school's for kids and we value them being there and sensing that belonging feeling. So it's been pretty awesome. Okay, next one. We have some friends that are going to come up here. Jessica and Sarah are going to talk a lot of the funds were used for sensory. So as they come up here, you're going to notice we had some sensory items out for you today. Not just toys, but sensory, because they meet a need when students have one. But we also have some other sensory tools that when they're finished, you're going to get some time to explore and ask questions about, and Nicole might model them for you. I cannot, but go ahead, please.
So we are really focusing on sensory spaces for a few reasons. One is that we have a lot of students coming up who already have sensory needs, and we have some students that go to an outside occupational therapist. We have some that are seen in our building, and some that don't have it explicitly stated, but we know they have sensory needs. And so we want to meet those needs. In addition, we look at them as this is preventative, right? Their needs are being met in order to prevent problem behavior from occurring. So yes, you can like touch and play with what's on your table. It's not there just to like look pretty. Yes, just right now in the not so dollar section at Target, they have some of those.
Nice and shift.
Maybe like the Target dollar section is no longer, I found out. But
This is the sensory diet.
yeah, yes. So you're getting a blank copy of what this is for a reason. You might be going through some things in a little bit. So right now for some kids, we're really working on a sensory diet and what works for them. So it's specific to what that kid needs. And it's flexible because over time it changes and our needs change. And so we're gonna see, do you have anything else to say about that?
Well, oh no, you're good. Just essentially, as we were learning more about the brain, how the brain works, we were learning that, we experience our environments through our senses, and then that input goes into our brain. And we know that some of our students, the way that their brains take in that sensory input, it's a little bit different. And so we wanted to make sure that their needs were being met in their environment, because otherwise their behavior was going to tell us, hey, my need's not being met. It's too loud in here, or I'm uncomfortable, or my socks are itchy, but I don't know how to communicate that to you yet. So by being able to prevent that need or meet that need ahead of time, then we can prevent those problem behaviors from occurring. But yes, we have a student whose family consented to us filming her using the sensory room and giving us a tour. And so, Justin, if you could please click on the link.
And I will tell you, oh no, hold on.
While they're giving access, just know that this sweet girl has come such a long way. She's in first grade. And she came from communicating in very loud ways that she had needs and we didn't know how to meet them. To now she will tell you what she needs. She gets up and does it she's got a really supportive classroom teacher. She gets up, she does what she needs and comes right back to learning. She is very open. She wears her pink headphones with pride, walkout sound.
Yes, tell me. Do some things.
Sorry, Justin.
It's all right.
I will say, Everly started with us when she was in preschool. So she's been at RPS for preschool, TK, kindergarten, and now she's in first grade. So she's come a long ways and she's able to give you a whole tour. She should be a salesperson.
Right. And this would not have happened like at the beginning of last year. And because her needs are being met, she's in the classroom a lot more.
I have a question. So are her parents using these strategies at home?
Some of them,
Yes, yes. And they have.
Hi, it's Emily in the sensory room. This is the space. I hope my brain can get more energy and flexes my feet.
It helps her get the
And
energy.
the craft pad helps my brain get even more energy. And it also tests how heavy I am.
That's how heavy
This
she
one
is.
is super cool. This one is cool. Where do I start?
Be careful breathing when she does it.
That's how this one works.
Does that breathing help your brain, Everly? What's that one called?
Worm breathing.
Worm breathing. Does that help your brain have less energy?
Yes. So this is a timer. And the unicorn's back.
What did you? Yeah,
We
what did you?
had to bring it back. They also got, and we got the frog.
What are those for?
I don't know.
Those are.
This is the switch, and those ones are cool. What? They relax me.
They help relax you.
Mhm.
And when you're relaxed, does that help you learn?
Mhm.
That's awesome. Okay. Well, thanks for showing. Oh.
And this side is OT time.
Yeah.
And using my break space, and which level are you at? And
Awesome.
that's all.
Your brain.
Okay. Well, thank you for sharing, Everly. We really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.
And I think one thing you can maybe, well, hopefully you notice, Matt, is it doesn't come without explicit teaching. The tools are not just given to kids and then, leave kindergartners to their own devices with a bunch of tools. But they are taught, and it's been a lot of work with her, and she knows now what each one does, what they do for her, and how it helps her.
And she's not the only one.
Yes.
So what are the headphones?
They're noise canceling headphones. The world around her is very loud for her. But she is able to access, she's in the classroom, she's learning. It's not completely like she doesn't hear a word, but it helps dampen all the noise around her.
It's a universal accommodation. So for any student who needs them or requests them, they get them. We have many who wear them during the assemblies. But for the most part, she's the one who wears them most consistently.
And I would say that that's what we're aiming for over time, is to develop these into spaces that are accessible for any kid who needs it at any time, even if they don't have a plan. Because just, I don't have a plan, but sometimes I can need some regulation myself.
Yeah.
So we're hoping as we develop this, we have more and more pieces in place to allow all students to access this as needed.
That's the last slide. I think
Yeah.
there are two more, but they were not for this presentation, and we apologize. Just another piece of where our journey is going is also, we would like to, and we're starting to, but help use what we're learning about student sensory needs to be able to shape our environments in our classroom. Recognizing that having tools available to students, altering the lighting during low energy activities versus high energy activities, it doesn't hurt anybody to do that, and it meets the needs of quite a few of our students.
And then another thing to think about, this is a primary school presentation, so the primary school is definitely the furthest along with this work. But we have been moving forward with similar types of spaces and activities at the elementary school. And the middle and high school will also be moving forward in this work as well next year. It looks a little bit different at the secondary levels, but there are still the same types of regulation and sensory needs. We just want to make sure it's appealing and accessible for 16-year-olds as well as 6-year-olds.
There you have it. Yep. Now
That's
you can
nice.
take a
Yes.
tour if
Okay.
you'd like
Yes.
to.
So a couple of things that we have out, and then you can, your job is to create your own sensory diet as you start looking at things. And so don't think you're getting off scot-free. You can try any of the items. I'm not going to demonstrate all of the items, but I will tell you, for very little children, I have models going through the rolling machine.
Justin will do the
I've seen
vibration
it.
thing.
Yes, Nicole has seen it. I've filmed doing it. It might be embarrassing in here with a bunch of adults. It's a lot easier to do this with kids. There is a vibration plate.
Are you gonna bring them over here and kind of show us?
Well, that one's plugged
That
in.
one's plugged
This
in.
is plugged in.
You gotta just.
You gotta move.
Go for it. Well, I'm not gonna bring this, hopefully you can see this from here, because this is kind of hard to look around. You just roll through it, like,
I'm on it.
yeah, you're gonna do it? Yeah.
Oh, yeah, no, hold on.
Are you gonna film it? Okay. Or it's gonna do it. I would do it if I had to.
Laura's gonna do it. Demonstrated it for me earlier today.
Yes, too.
But that's some for that weed.
Yeah. Kids use this in different ways. The rubber bands are adjustable.
Nicole's gonna do the spinning chair.
Yeah. No, sure.
Again, vestibular, this one's vestibular, thank you. It's important to me that I understand what it means.
And so there was a student in my office that sat in this chair and I timed it, and it was spinning for like 20 something minutes. I'm like, oh my gosh, this kid's gonna yak like any minute. He did not, and I just couldn't even look at it because it was making me so dizzy after a while. This is
And then
the
after
G
that
board.
time-
If you haven't seen, I got one for my house and then I had to get one for RPS. So there's a lot, if you go to the QR code, they'll show you workouts and tricks that you can do. I'm probably up to 1:24 at my house without falling. But this has been a big hit with kids, is balancing, doing tricks, all the things they try to do going this way.
And you saw Everly use the crash pad.
Yeah, I really use the crash pad. Now this is, you want this over. Making me look weak. I carried this, by the way, all the way from RPS to Genius by myself. It's so kind. Thank you, AJ. Thank you. So this is like somebody might have to compress it out.
Oh, I was in there earlier.
You can adjust. You can adjust it. Did you come in when we were in here?
Well, after you dropped it off, I got in it, but I could just do both.
No, it is adjustable, so it can be however tight, but this is at GMES. And this has been a very big hit with a couple kids in particular. And then you have smaller tools on your table. There's even stuff like, scented hand sanitizer. There's kids that really like the smells. We have some visual things like turning that. This is your favorite, right? The Theraputty, which is Dr. Bethman's favorite. Then over here, we just have different tools that kids sometimes use. I'm afraid to touch it because it looks like somebody built a nice sandcastle in here. But this is kinetic sand. So if you've never touched kinetic sand, that might be fun for you. And just different tools that you can explore.
And I just want to circle back with this, these are fun, but they also serve a purpose to really help our kids be able to regulate themselves and be able to be learners. And so when we look at this, like, oh, this is cool to sit in this, but I'm guessing most of you have some sort of something that you use as your own tool. For me, it's a blanket I like to put around myself, at night. I like to cuddle with a thick blanket. And that for me is just something that really helps me regulate with my sensory. And so these are all tools, and our kiddos are learning what tools are most successful for them.
And just to piggyback off Laura too, when we talk about like where your brain is or what tool you're using, it's coming with explicit teaching of like, okay, how are you feeling before you use this tool? How are you feeling now? How do you think that helped you? That could be their body feeling. It could just be like, they might be at the stage where they're like, I'm not sure yet. And that's where we keep building that skill up so that they know how. But it's definitely, it's a journey and figuring out how to help them be able to use that skill, maybe now in this big cool canoe. But then how do we help them meet that need in other ways too, where they're able to stay in the classroom is a safe way to access that tool, or a safe way to be as they get older, because they do, they get tall real quick.
And Justin's really good at the vibration plate too. So if you need to see that, he's really good at it earlier. So we're gonna give you a few minutes. We hope you get out of your seats and try some things or look at some things. If you don't want to go through it, that's fine, but at least take a look and kind of see what our kids are using and why this is so important. It's really important to them. So I would love it for us. It'll also be important for us too.
And there are lots of little different options over here that you can take a look at.
Yes, and you can take it to your seat. All right, you got to get up.
I have a couple of questions.
Oh, sure.
Yes. So, one, I was concerned about kids running into James Road and running out on the Highway 12, and I'm trying to concept that in my head. Obviously, we're removing the children from the classroom, so we're letting them go outside. They just like run out to the road. I'm just trying
Yeah.
to,
Well, I would say, Neil, in response to that, so when a student is in like what they would call like that fight, flight, or
Fight or
freeze
flight, yeah.
response, so sometimes when students are in that, where they're in their feeling brain, right here on your little red card.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So when they get into that, all rational thinking goes out the window, right? Like safety, they're not thinking about, oh, there might be a car that's going to hit me, or this might happen. And for whatever reason, they're in that state and they're not gonna be able to talk about it, that you're not gonna be able to reason with them. I could be like, stop. It wouldn't even go. So what we try to do, and it's rare that happens.
We have a very secure
Yes.
campus. We are
Very
completely
secure.
defense.
Not like every
The
day.
only access point is the front door. And we have had a few elopers get out that front door. And it is enough that our secretaries, most often if we radio eloper, they'll go to the front door and stand right there. But there are times, and it's happened very
Happens
few
occasionally.
amount of
Yeah.
times,
Yeah, yeah.
right out the front door.
It's happened a couple of times this year with kids going out to buses. We've seen that.
Yes,
Yes,
and that
that
is-
has happened.
Yeah,
Where
because the buses
Students are going out
mixed.
to the buses and they're just in a state, you know, in their
they're not being.
feeling brain, their downstairs brain, where they will take off towards the road. And it isn't even necessarily they're trying to get to the road, they're just trying to get
Trying to get away.
Yeah.
away from the situation or away from their, how they're feeling, to try and just get to a better place.
And if that does happen,
I said
mean-
Nicole, because she's very fast.
and actually, I think I showed Justin, there was a real great still, I was like, man, look at, like, I'm sprinting, it's like, but our goal is to like teach our like hands off as much as possible. So in that situation, we didn't have to put hands on. I was able to get in front and just block like with my own like movement, and she was able to run back towards Danny. So it is rare,
Very rare.
but it is a real thing that we, for safety, have to keep in the back of our mind, because we do have some students who get in that fight or flight response and they're out.
Well, and listen, these little guys can be fast.
I know.
I'm not, like, there's times where like we're blocking or something and it's just, that's where they're, but like they said, it's very rare.
Any other questions, or did that answer?
No, I got more.
Yeah.
How many teachers or employees of the district are involved in these situations? I assume you guys are all communicating with each other. Is there one or two people that are with the child that is having issues, that is struggling with their regulating themselves? Or is it just a one-on-one?
I would say it'll depend on the student, very student specific. But as we work through our tiered supports, we like tier 1, which is all students.
Mhm.
A lot of our teachers or EAs will step into, like, sometimes if they just need to co-regulate, that could also be any of us too, but at that tier 1 level, a lot of our staff will do that. And then as we get into students with maybe they have some more complex needs or things that we know or plans in place, typically that's usually could be one of us, GK, Whitehead, it could be a special education teacher. It could be a support staff, like an educational assistant, but I would say it's really we're all there to help all students. I mean, we could have one student who needs a lot of regulation of the day, and probably at least 12 adults have regulated with her at some point.
And when we responded today for a student, sometimes different staff members have different interactions. So we'll radio for a flip flop, and Nicole and I flipped out, and a different person changed it. But for safety purposes, when a student is escalated to a level 3, it's always me and always a second person. And that might mean we're stepping away from some other things, but I'm always there.
Do we have enough staff that are properly trained? Or is this something that where we should encourage more teachers to become involved with this?
At RPS, I think we're pretty well staffed right now. All of our special education teachers, all of our EAs, our behavior EA, Nicole, myself, Jessica. Sarah doesn't do these steps. She's not part of the UCARO process. We try to separate the counselor from behavior as much as possible. It's important to us, but we all know.
Wonderful.
And I would say, as far as our teachers, even this week, we've had 2 teachers who've asked for a flip flop. So where whoever's available, Danny, me,
I can
Jessica's
cover their
there,
class
like
So they can move on with their student.
because they would like to be able to continue that with them, or to help regulate, to help like keep that relationship with them. So we'll just flop. And then once they're ready, we'll switch back. So.
Wonderful, wonderful.
There have been times that I feel like we need 5 more people, but most of the time, no.
whatever it takes, whatever you need to make this a successful program. It sounds like a wonderful thing. You know, the redirection and letting kids find their comfort space. And man, I like these cards.
You can have those. They're pretty.
I understand a little bit about things when I was a kid and in schooling, and I really appreciate this.
So we take just a couple minutes?
Yeah.
Play the sound.
Everybody.
Sensory menu while you're at it.
No. Yes. Oh, gotcha, okay. This must be why a lot of kids. Yes. And yeah, that's why. Yes. And if you don't want it, you don't have money. But.
Parents join.
This is the harder one. They won't just.
What if they come in?
Oh, it's like, I don't get that. So not that I asked.
Boy, that I know.
I did not. I just about for that, but if I add. Yes, this is the fiber optic line. And it provides. But. Oh, it has to be. We don't have. I'm like, go through like this. Yes. There I am. My granddaughter. Oh. Yeah. Sometimes. Yes. Yes. I mean, that was last night. No, it was like this. Yes. I'm sure love that. Yes. I mean, others not to. And I have a
No, it doesn't. It's actually. You can evaluate. Well, you're ABC. I'm in the video. Go faster. Did you get
It's midnight now. It's gonna be like, the heck?
Love it. They have fair. All right, good job, ladies. Hold on for that. Are you gonna get it? Okay, I'll turn it back up.
It's a scene on TV, right?
There you go. That's what I was looking for.
Yes.
Can you make it go back?
So they bow to
Yeah, we'll do that.
Yeah.
You know, we need that too.
Yeah, seriously.
And you see the step off.
Sure.
Everybody.
Oh, no.
No, not everyone.
No, I got. Did you do the migration? Let's come on, Ed.
That is.
I'm gonna crash.
Basis.
I'll take the bag, I'm down.
That's somewhere. What is it? So we'll probably gonna be really transparent and honest. That is something that we're working on. This was getting like first year together and like figuring out that is something.
Are we?
That's important to me.
Everybody wired up and then you was getting.
No, absolutely.
Where did they go?
I don't. Yeah, absolutely.
I just, I have one thing I'd like to share about this work. to wrap us up. So initially, when OSBI came to see us, they said, well, they have some demonstration sites and they're like, I don't think you guys are ready to be a demonstration site, which is where other districts come in. The last time they came in to do a check, they said, why are you not a demonstration site? Because the work you're doing needs to be seen. So please give kudos to this building.
Thank you very much, you guys, and you have been a demonstration site, correct?
No, we are a pilot.
Okay, you're a pilot.
Site. Yep.
Awesome, thank you. Thank you very much for coming.
Wonderful.
Maybe we can let
Wonderful.
them go.
Yes, at this time, anybody that wants to go, feel free.
We will come back.
Welcome to enjoy a little bit of sunshine before it gets dark.
And we have
Back to you and
Yeah, you have a time plan. Nicole will leave without this.
This is my favorite.
Yeah.
Don't scratch it.
Don't scratch it. Even though it's gonna be on the plan.
Excellent.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Everyone, we appreciate the demonstration you've provided for us today.
You're welcome.
Okay. Excellent. So now, are we off to restraint and isolation, or is that?
We do a restraint and isolation data that.
Yep.
I think Laura can tell you about real quickly.
Yeah, and this will be quick. There should be just a one-page visual back in here. Right there. Okay, so each year I give a report on the number of student restraints and the incidence of student isolation throughout the school year. We have about a week left of school, but we figured, or whatever we have now, we figured this would be a good time to connect with what we were just talking about. So as you look at this, you will see at Rochester Primary School, we had a total number of 2 restraint incidences this year and 1 isolation incident. All 3 of those were based on students who were, their bodies were very dysregulated and they were hurting other folks. And so we didn't want that to continue. Grand Mound Elementary we've had a rougher year there this year. We have had 4 students who have been restrained for a total of 7 incidents. And there was 1 student injured, but it was not the student that was being restrained. There was another student who was hit by the student who was then restrained. So I just want to make sure that's clear. There was no student injured during the restraint itself. 2 staff were injured in that building. Well, 1 staff 2 times injured in Grand Mound based on a student behavior. And then the middle school, 1 student was restrained, 5 incidents of restraint. This was the student going towards the road and going out to the bus, same student, same bus. We ended up switching buses and it never happened again. So there was just something that student didn't connect with that bus and there hasn't been another issue. I just want to, I want to quickly say that the primary school, we talked about that 2 years ago, 22, 23, 54 incidences, 24, 25, 2, and 1 of isolation. So from 54 to 3. So I just, that's the way to wrap up the work, the presentation used. Any questions on these numbers?
No.
All right, that's it for that one.
Thank you, Laura.
Off the business report. All right, if you'd like, you may leave now too.
I want to listen to Jill first and then.
I'm not
I got our numbers.
nearly as exciting.
Thank you.
How do you follow that?
Let's use some of these toys while you talk.
I get in the boat to get my report. So our student FTE in May was just under 2,000 at 1,999.92. So we're funded on our annual average, so we are 4.76 students under budget. 70 students participating in Running Start and 34 Running Start only. Hart High School had a 34.79 FTE, 365 special education students and 11 students eligible to be counted for the dropout reengagement program.
Nice.
So student FTE and visuals, we're kind of leveled out the last few months and haven't had a lot of fluctuation. So gonna end the year pretty even with the blue years.
Jill, when do you get to give your estimate of how many students we're gonna have? I mean, saying that we're within 4 seems like.
I had a good crystal ball.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's part of the budget process, so
Yeah.
in the next couple of months.
So we do it in the summer, or you do it, and then that's really good. I mean, you get that close to what we thought.
And it's pure luck, as you can see, from the fluctuations, we don't have a trend.
Yeah,
So it's hard to see, and then these past few years, really guessing
yeah,
those, how many kinders are gonna show up.
right.
A mix of that, as well as how many 11th and 12th graders are gonna choose to go to Newmarket or Running Start. So at the end of April, as usual, that happens in October as well, our ending fund balance jumped to 4.5 million. Again, that's because in October and April, we get our half of our levy payments. So we always have those spikes in October and April, but then rely on that levy for the last 5 months of the year to sustain us. At the end of April, the fiscal year is 66% of the year complete. Our revenues are at 71. And again, that's a little higher than normal because our local levy payments, the second one came in, so we're almost maxed out for that. And our expenditures are at 70.2%. So within the next couple of months, you'll probably expect a budget extension because there are a few things that have come up that last summer when we were planning, we didn't know about, the biggest one being Gear Up. So that's a grant we had received mid-year that was not in the original budget, but we're spending that. So we're gonna have to ask for increased capacity. And it's not to use more fund balance, but it's to use extra grant money or extra other sources of money that we've received that we didn't know about a year ago. And for all 5 of our funds, again, the general fund at 4.5 million, capital projects at 3.7, debt service at 828,000, ASB at 622,000, and transportation vehicle at 255,000.
Do we actually have a bus?
We do have a bus. Well, it's not in service right now. It's into surplus. We were holding off because the legislature made some changes to what you can spend that money on. And so we're waiting for rules to be written to see if we have flexibility in how to use that or if we need to in turn purchase another bus. Which we don't.
We don't need one.
But we're hoping maybe we can buy some white van fleets. We're hoping we could buy some vans for transporting.
Oh,
students.
smaller vehicles,
Mhm.
multiple smaller vehicles.
Yes, exactly.
So the legislature did pass that in RCW. We just have to wait for WACs to be written to see what compliance goes along with that.
And they're doing something with electric buses.
Road later.
I was hearing something about that. I was like, well, that might be a good opportunity for something like that. I know first student, I think we were at WASDA last year and first student was there and they said that up in Canada, they run a lot of electric vehicles, a lot of big portable generators to run schools. Seems pretty impressive for a rural setting and an opportunity. It's a bigger city area, which is where I was thinking that whole electric bus thing was going to be. But when conversations I don't know the monies or any of those informations, which I'm sure are rather high, but it made it sound like they could pretty much run a city, just the buses that they use in Canada that are battery operated. Seems like most of their fleets are. Anyway, enough.
Any questions?
No, thank you.
Yep.
Your magic. Off by 4. That's crazy.
I've got another month.
Wonderful. Thank you, Joe.
All right. So tonight, just a few quick things tonight. First of all, it's the end of the year. Believe it or not, we have 8 school days left. We are just now finishing different assessments that are taking place. WIDA just recently finished the assessment we give our multilingual speakers to see how they're progressing. We're giving the iReady to students K through 9. Students are finishing the ESPA testing, and that's given 3rd grade through 10th grade with the exception of 9th grade, and then we do science at the 11th grade. But we've got all of that finishing up. We have student transitions that we're working on. So just yesterday, our 5th graders were visiting the middle school, and then there was a parent night for 5th graders. Just Mr. Theonis has been going down to visit with 8th graders at the middle school to get to know them. We're doing all kinds of things like creating schedules for students, but also Laura is working with her team to aid and develop plans for transitions of students with IEPs so that they're prepared to move on to the next schools if they're moving from school to school, or even just from one grade to another, and how are we going to be working with them different. So a lot of things in closing up this year, but also planning for next year. We've got the end of year activities going on. There's lots of hiring taking place. I shouldn't say a lot, but there's more hiring than we've seen in a couple of years, all to prepare for next year. Question? Then we've got a few events that happened. We've got dual language family night took place a couple weeks ago, but it was really a fun celebration. All of the kindergarten and 1st graders were there. They did a short performance for their families. All of the teachers were introduced. We have new teachers who will be teaching the 1st grade class next year. So our 1st grade class is rolling up to, obviously they're moving up to 2nd grade, but those teachers at the 1st grade level are moving up to with them. So they're going to be our 2nd grade teachers. And so we have 2 new teachers who will be teaching in the dual language for the 1st grade class again this next year. Does that make sense? Okay. We hired a Spanish speaking teacher for one of those positions, and then Cassidy Martinez is going to be the other half of that partnership there. So that was a wonderful night, really good turnout with our parents. That's an evening where we have a lot of parents coming out to just engage with the staff that's there and each other and see the progress of their kids and learn more about the program on a continual basis.
We know yet interest for next year, is it still high?
Still high.
Kindergartners coming.
Still high, yep. And then Bobby Bush, who is the communication specialist and storyteller at the Chehalis Tribe, actually connected with her at the swing dedication. And she connected with Amber Parsons and came out, and they arranged for her to come out and talk to her classes at RMS. And she came out and she was telling these kids stories, and there were, 7th graders sitting in their chairs, and they were raising their hands and participating in the story that was being told, and just responding exactly, engaging in the storytelling. It was really fun to watch. She was telling them a story about bees and ants and bears, and the kids really enjoyed it. Ended up with a song, and all the kids joined in and sang a tribal song afterwards. So it was really good to see. She's going to be coming back next year at least 2 or 3 times. So good to have her join us.
Excellent.
As I'd shared before, Representative Glusenkamp Perez came out to visit today. Zach was one of the ones and was able to talk with her. But she toured a lot of the CTE programs that we have at the high school and was really very impressed with what our kids are doing and the access to different programs that they have. Had a lot of kids that just did a really nice job talking to her, and Zach was one of them. Zach asked her a great question when we had a student panel that was able to talk with her. The young man up in the top left-hand corner, I don't know his name. Do you know his name, Zach?
Left? I do not.
Anyway, he knew her. He had seen her on the YouTube. I guess she does YouTube commercials, and he could not believe that she was at Rochester High School. And we had a couple students who had seen her on YouTube and were completely aware of who she was and what she stood for and some of her beliefs and things that she was fighting for. So it was a really nice visit and the kids did a really good job talking with her and she did a great job talking to the kids. I want to remind you about graduations. We have graduation on the 6th. It starts at 6 o'clock for Hart, and I called it Hart Park, which is right out back. And then on June 8th, we have graduation at St. Martin's starting at 2 o'clock. And then lots of upcoming events. LA Capable Program Family Night is at GMES tomorrow. And middle school band concert tomorrow and the ice cream. They have an ice cream social before the band concert. So if you want some ice cream and then
That's not mentioned on here.
I think it's on the other sheet. I gave it. But I do want to draw your attention. You do have another sheet with all the information and all the dates. So it's there again. If you want to join us for things, we'd love to have you join us.
Oh, that's nice. The band kids did amazing.
Yes.
It's like the growth of the music department is coming out of COVID.
They're
Oh my
doing,
goodness, it's huge.
they're doing good work. Yep.
Wonderful.
All right.
Anything else?
Nope, that's it for me.
Good. All right. Well, we're done with the superintendent report. And now, where are we going here? Can we just continue with the, in order?
Yes.
Can I ask a question real quick? The Hart graduation, do we need to do anything other than just show up?
Nope, you don't have to do anything other than show up and we don't wear cap and gowns for
That's
that
what,
one.
didn't think so.
And how many are graduating in that class this year?
4 or
8, 10?
5, it was small. I'm not sure. I'll let you know how many are graduating.
I
It's a
plan
small
on being
group.
there. It's fabulous with all the families and the family members come in and, you know, I love it.
Yes, it's a good,
It's a very, very cool and very festive,
good celebration.
atmosphere. and it's here
Yes.
at this wonderful location. So, all right. Questions about anything from the superintendent report? Okay. All right, well, I guess we're gonna move on to new business. Again, if anyone would like to leave, they're more than welcome. Okay, stick it out there. All right, new business. We got out-of-state trip for RH basketball.
Yep, they're taking 2 trips this summer, one to Ilwaco and the other to Connell. Oh, and one to Richmond, sorry, yes. Mhm. So they need approval for the overnight trip.
Okay,
Who's the coach? Caleb Sells, if he knew, this will be his 2nd year. He's going into the 2nd year.
Okay, I lost you somewhere. Okay.
Well, it seemed to work for the fast pitch team to send them over to Richland.
Yeah.
They come back and get second state, send them out a couple times.
There we go. Okay.
okay. All right, so do we have a motion to approve?
I'll move.
Second.
First and second, any discussion? Good luck. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. Next, out-of-state trip request for the boys football team.
Yes, and Coach Easley is here. He might want to tell us just a little bit about these trips.
Yeah, we've never gone before, so I just wanted, if you got any questions, it's a lot. I mean, we've tried to, last year we went to Sispis for an overnight camp as kind of a non-football deal. We wanted to kind of do more team bonding than football, and then we used scrimmages off campus at different high schools. We went to Onalaska and Adna, a couple other places. With having we have a lot more 3-sport athletes than we've had in the past. We kind of wanted to consolidate a little bit and try to get more bang for our buck. So I think at Linfield, there's 3 scrimmages a day or 3 opportunities to scrimmage. We will probably only do 1 of those, and then they have different opportunities to do 7-on-7s or different things. The way we play football is very taxing on the body. And if we tried to do that 3 times in a day, for 4 days in a row, I don't know that it's beneficial for us. But we thought rather than try to have our football athletes do 20 days in June when they got to play basketball and baseball and all that in the summertime, we thought currently we have 7 practice days, which is about minimum as we can have to be able to have contact. And then go do 4 days of camp was pretty ideal for what we could do, because we also thought we could get that team bonding piece that we got at CISPIS at Linfield and the football piece in 4 days rather than spread that out over time. It is a healthy price increase to what we did last year. It's $220 a kid. The option to stay in a dorm was $350 a kid. We will stay in the field house with La Center High School. I've been on the phone with him multiple times with their coach. They've had issues in the past with teams. You put 100 boys in a field house together that are from different schools, and there's bound to be some issues. We agreed not to play each other. So that way we don't, I don't know if you've ever been to football camp. There's times when it gets really heated. And so not playing each other and then playing each other and sleeping together is sometimes a recipe for disaster. So we've agreed not to play each other. Part also because we may see them in the playoffs in the near future, and we don't want them to try to figure out what we're gonna do.
Are they part of our league or?
They're in our district and they're very good. So
How many do you anticipate wanting to go?
we anticipated, so we have 39 signed up right now. I think
Is that including 8th graders that are coming in?
8th graders that will be freshmen.
Oh.
Yeah, and so when we go down there, there's different there's 36 teams that'll be down there from all over Oregon, Idaho, Washington, wherever. They all most of them bring varsities and JVs and freshmen and whatever level you have. On the first day we go there, all the head coaches get together and say, this is what I brought and this is what I want to do. Who wants to play? And what level are you, right? When I went there, when I used to coach at Tenino, we went there one time and we were a 1A school and we decided to play a 6A school from Oregon. And it wasn't awesome. But we did it. And I think where we're at as a program, we've gotten to the point where we need to take that next level. We need to take that next step, right? We broke over the league champion barrier, and we're in a stretch where we have some really good athletes here and really good athletes coming. And we need to go play some teams that are going to make us better. The other part about why we chose Linfield was you guys all know this. If you don't ever leave Rochester, those walls become pretty tight, right? And you don't think there's not much outside of that. So the opportunity to take them to a college campus, there's lots of kids in our program, in our school that may never get the opportunity to walk onto a college campus. So if we can provide that for them and take them somewhere and show them that outside of, the stop sign or the stoplight, there is something else out there. You can go explore other things. And I think we have a lot of athletes right now that can play at the college level. Being at Linfield, they bring other coaches, they bring people to see kids. We have 4 seniors to be right now that all have potential, that all have multiple offers to go play in college. So I think we have an athlete right now playing at Linfield who will start for them next year. I just think it'll be a great opportunity for them, for everybody. So. We are going to run a fundraiser starting next week, a really, really quick one just for those kids that we know they're there, right? The kids that are going to struggle to pay for $220. So we'll have a real quick fundraiser just to try and just for this camp, right? We're not using it for other funds. Each kid needs to raise about most they can and just to help pay for. Last year when we went there were some kids that I think we ended up about $3,000 in the hole that we covered because kids didn't pay. So this is just kind of a way for us to break even. So.
Wonderful. You can get some of those scouts to pay for some of the funding. You're gonna be there watching. You got that many schools going there.
Yeah, no, there's a lot. There are a lot of our kids are going, there's some showcase camps that they're going to this weekend that there's 40 or 50 schools that are there that there should be some big offers coming in this weekend. So it'll be fun.
Awesome. Excellent. Thank you for explaining all that. All right. Well, Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Move, Susie moves,
Second.
Michael seconds. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Or actually, I'm supposed to say, is anybody opposed? We don't vote yes, so motion passes. Okay. Wonderful. Comment? ASB High School Constitution.
Yes, so the high school has put together their constitution with some updates, and so Zach's gonna give us just a brief summary of some of those updates.
So basically, this is our old constitution, 2 pages front and back, and we went to also WASPO conference this year, and we immediately knew that it needed changes. So we were luckily able to, I've treated this thing very nicely over the few years. I put it in paper binders. I've always washed my hands before I even touch the papers. So it's now 9 pages. So we were very happy when we put this all together. Just some few changes, of course, is the formatting. We adjusted it to look more pleasable instead of just some basic pages. And then our junior treasurer that we have as a position is not actually mentioned a ton in our old constitution. So we wanted to expand on that position, of course, in our new one. And then we have our new class officers that we were very, very excited about to offer. So we made sure to put all of that in our new and improved constitution. And then our elections that we've changed it up a little bit where it's not just all student vote, where we can give everybody else a chance, even if they're not the popular kids, they can still have a chance to run for that position so we can get as many students to be running for ASB. So there's just a few changes we made.
Very, very well done. I was looking this over last night. I was very impressed. All right. So this one we have to approve. Okay, not sure what the changes were, but it looks like a wonderful, well-written article. All right. So we have a motion to approve the ASB High School Constitution.
So move.
I will second this one. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none. Motion passes. Congratulations. You may also leave now if you would like. Thank you very much and look forward to seeing you next year.
Thank you.
Thanks,
All
Zach.
right. Excellent. Now we're moving on to first reading of board policies. These are the ones we had looked at in our
These are the ones we looked at in the work session. The first one is the electronic resources and internet safety policy and procedure 2022. It's about the electronics that the kids and staff use. Procedure updates, they really align with the practice that we have in place right now. And the primary updates were around safety training, clarification on the network security, and additional artificial intelligence or AI. And that's a new piece, of course. Mhm. This is first reading. The second policy procedure that you reviewed and is now up for first reading is 5011. That's sexual harassment of district staff prohibited. This speaks to the staff side of sexual harassment as it aligns to Title IX. Investigation practices and procedures to go with that. The reasons for the revisions was to clarify that we cleaned some things up so it really speaks to the staff and doesn't include the student piece. Because we do have a student policy for sexual harassment. And then it applies to the complaints of the sexual harassment as outlined in 2020 Title IX. And so we made sure that all worked. I think the biggest thing that was updated here was just the resolution, how a person would go through things and dispute a resolution so that it's clear for staff. And then aligning the staff complaint process to the student process. So people who are working through it are basically doing the same steps, whether they're working with a staff member or a student.
Okay.
Jennifer, do you want comments now or later on?
Now it's fine.
There's just on 5011. I don't know how to explain it. It's about the fifth line down where it says other students. I think the word other.
Needs to be, oh, it did, and I crossed it off and yeah, okay. Sorry, that's not,
No, that's okay.
I'm glad you caught that again. All right, anything else that you saw? Okay.
All right. So, it's first reading. We don't have to make any things with this tonight, so move on.
Correct, yep.
Okay. The renewal of the elevation and iReady sole source contracts.
Yep, so this is just for your information that we are purchasing Elevation, which is used with our ML students, and then iReady, which we use for our progress monitoring assessment. This is what's considered a sole source contract, and it's paid for with our title funds. And so we need to make sure the board's aware of that and they see that we are purchasing it with our title funds. So it is information based only. You do not need to vote on this.
Okay. Seems like iReady is working well. There's implementation a few years ago.
Yep.
You can actually get some data-driven statistics on where our kids are. They're not quite to the level of expectation yet, but they are improving.
Yes,
Really,
we're seeing growth.
that was really impressive. A month ago, I think it was.
Mhm.
Okay. Science curriculum adoption. This one we have, or is this just a first reading on this also?
This is an adoption. Justin, you want to speak to this one?
This is what we talked about at the work session a couple weeks ago. And so this would be approval of the 612 curriculum that we talked about in the last meeting.
Yeah. So we vote for this one tonight.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Luke,
I'll second.
Doozy will second. All right. Any discussion? How about all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. Get your program, Justin.
And so much work went into that. This kind of.
I'm looking forward to it.
You'd have doves flying or something, you know.
The AI stuff, kind of scary. The whole web thingy where the discussion or whatever, I'm saying, that's crazy. All right. Next one, we have a monetary donation from First Student. And I believe we have to approve.
Yes, approve to accept it. This is a 5,000 donation from First Student. And it's being applied to lunch fines and fees that we have to.
Love it. Absolutely wonderful. But there's a way like we should like reach out to all the other businesses in Rochester and see if they'd all be willing to pitch in. It's it's important to take care of these kiddos and their lunches.
Yeah.
And it is a debt that continues to grow.
Does that cover? Will that cover the debt? No.
No.
Have they done this in other years?
They have done this in other years, yep.
Just didn't remember.
It's over 20,000.
Our debt's over 20. Yeah, we need to reach out to some businesses.
Is that, I'm sorry for jumping in, but is that carried forward from years past or that's just this year? That's just
Carry
carried over.
With the student, do the whole, you hear? At what point do we wipe that or do we ever? Is it just continual?
We don't. Sometimes families will approach us because they didn't realize their kid was getting lunch. There's financial concerns, and then that's what we use this money to then apply that. Or a family said, I forgot to fill out my form this year. They fill out a form, then qualify for free meals.
So oftentimes we'll use grant money to then pay that off. So
And all kids in the primary and the elementary, they all get free lunch already, correct?
and Hart High School.
And Hart. So it's just the middle school and the high school where. Sorry. Okay. Well, I'd like to say thank you. Thank you to everyone that helps. No kid should ever go hungry in our district, ever. Right.
Could you vote? Yeah.
Do we have a motion to approve this donation?
I'll move.
Second moves.
No, second.
Michael second. Any discussion?
I guess one more point to Jill, if they recognize they didn't get their paperwork in on time and then go ahead and fill it out, it's not retro. They can't go back. It's just that it's approved. Okay.
There's discussion? Hearing none? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none? Motion approved. Motion passes. All right, and then next on our list is delegating authority to WIA.
Yep, and this is, school board, needs to vote to to allow us to continue to work with WIAA to compete within the league, and they provide supervision and the regulation of the rules and the all the interscholastic athletics and activities that are governed by WIAA. So this is the board approval of that.
All the infrastructure that goes into setting all these things.
Yep. You have to say, yes, it's okay if we work within the WIAA parameters. But if we didn't want to, what would happen? We would not have anybody to compete against. Oh.
We're not.
Kevin,
We're not
I'm running
allowed
back in the room.
We can make a quick trip back.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'd be playing intramurals within the district.
Within
Yeah.
ourselves.
Mhm.
I really believe in the WIA. All it stands for. All right, do we have a motion to approve?
So move.
So moved. Michael first. I will second this one. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none. Motion passes. Still legit with WIA. All right. Next. Student fee schedule.
This is a student fee schedule for next year, and there are no changes. This is the same fees that level of fees that their students are paying this year.
All right, do we have a motion to approve?
I'll move.
Liz?
Yeah.
Okay, I will second that one. All right. Any discussion? How about all in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. All right. Wonderful. RHS ticket prices.
And then these are ticket fees to get in for the athletic events. Jill, there's no fees. You need to get it correct. So again, same cost as what it is for this school.
Wonderful. Good. Good. Great, so. We have a motion to approve RHS ticket prices. Susie moves,
Second.
Michael seconds. All right. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. All right. And with that, we are now to public comment for items that were not on our agenda this evening.
That's 3 people who want to make a comment.
Are they here tonight?
Yep.
All right, we have people at the end of the show. I love it. Anybody online?
There are people online, but no one wants to speak.
No one wants to speak? All right. And is this what I'm supposed to read? I'll make this bigger. I do this. Forgive me, folks, I left my glasses at home. This is little writing for me.
You borrowed me, didn't you? Okay.
Hey, maybe. I think I can do this. All right, starting right here, public comment protocol. Yep. Right there, okay. Public comment protocol. The board recognizes the value of public opinion on educational issues and the importance of involving members of the public in its meetings. The board president will call forward individuals who have signed up to speak. Please state your name and limit your comments to 3 minutes. The board will not respond to comments during this meeting unless there is a need for clarifying question. As most issues require the board to review all available information before making a decision. The board may request the superintendent or a designee to follow up with you about your concerns. Speakers are asked to not reflect adversely on the character or motives of any individual, especially by name. Board president may interrupt or terminate an individual's comment for not allowing if the allotted time has expired. That's it? All right. Thank you, Michael. No. All right. And first up, it looks like we have Rochelle.
Rachel, yeah.
Rachel. I should have kept the glasses on.
Okay,
Free Rachel, come on up.
all right.
The podium's right here.
The podium, I feel so important. Official. Yes, okay, I'm Rachel Ledbetter, the REA Vice President, and I'm here with some other members. And we are going to read some did you know statements from our members, from certificated staff in our district. And we don't have all of the details on some of the statements we're reading, but we just wanted to share some perspectives from teachers and some insight. So I thank you for taking the time to listen. I will keep it under 3 minutes. I was a little worried about that. That's why I tried to schedule it. I wasn't sure, but I think I have it pared down. So did you know, even though I left teaching, I still have work trauma associated with court administration? Did you know teachers are allowed to a 30-minute duty-free lunch, but sometimes our lunch is disrupted by students yelling and screaming and beating on the walls in the office? Did you know my favorite part of teaching is seeing who is on my roster? A lot of kids, I have been with RSD for 30 years. Did you know the high school lost 2.5 full-time certs and 3.5 positions, and their work is required to be absorbed by staff who already perform full-time jobs? Teachers love to teach. They are passionate and committed to providing a quality education. However, with all the additional responsibilities being piled on, it's becoming difficult to do so. Did you know I can't find it in the contract or job description where assault is part of the job? Did you know students' attendance is so poor that it makes it difficult to progress through the material and constantly trying to get students caught up? Meanwhile, other students are absent. This in turn makes assessing them difficult because they aren't caught up or, again, they're absent. Did you know that many staff are depressed and suffering from anxiety, being diagnosed with high blood pressure, migraines, and other stress-related disorders that the PCPs are saying is directly related to working for the district? Did you know that we have protocol in place when we need to start to shut down parts of the school so kids are not seeing kids screaming, yelling, and laying on the floor in the hallways? That we are not given enough time during PLC to plan, review assessments, and collaborate because of training, where we are filling out documents that may be helpful, but not really helping us daily with our students. I often have to respond to parent concerns, questions, updates, etc. on my own time. There simply is not enough time during the planned time to respond via phone and remind, also planning lessons. To meet the diverse academic needs of plus students. Most of our planned time is making packets in cursive, math, and ELA because workbooks are no longer provided. And I had another one in here about just how we're passionate about SEL and providing social emotional supports from all corners of our school district. And I feel like that's being implemented. And we all care about that. There, I took them today.
Thank you.
Just the line.
Is it Katie Bradley?
Kathy Brady. Kathy Brady.
Kathy.
Kathy Brady.
Oh my glasses.
Yeah.
I brought my glasses out too.
Thank you, apologies.
Yes. So I will continue the did you knows. Did you know we have so much PD? We must be the worst teachers ever if we need this much PD. Are evaluations indicating such a need? Is there a way to UDL the PD instead of one size fits all? Did you know that there is a giant homemade funnel made out of garbage bags in our vault? It collects dirty water that is leaking through the roof and drains through approximately 8 feet of tubing into a 5-gallon bucket on the floor. Did you know RHS is the only building without a reset room, leaving poorly behaved students sitting at the counseling table in the office, making it difficult for students experiencing crisis to feel calm or safe? Did you know that for the first 5 months of school, various staff had to stop doing their work to be a kind of one-on-one for a student who disrupted the class all day? Did you know my class began the year, according to iReady, with 5 on-grade level readers and 1 student on grade level in math? Not all are done with iReady testing, but students have grown. 12 are on grade level readers and 10 are on level in math. Did you know teachers are continuously being asked to work for free, such as creating curriculum? We currently have a wonderful science curriculum that meets the needs of all students and includes step-by-step video directions. However, it is no longer being funded next year, and teachers are being asked to create a curriculum with the help of AI, but no video directions. Did you know that special education requirements and language barriers require additional skill, effort, and time? Where is the extra time? Did you know that we can't often get subs, so classrooms are split up, so other teachers take on 5 or 6 more kids for the day? Did you know I bleed blue and gold? I raise 2 warriors. I support all the teams and groups. I love teaching warriors. Did you know our classrooms and bathrooms are not being consistently cleaned? Teachers are bringing their own vacuums and cleaning supplies to ensure that our students have a clean, safe learning environment. Did you know students invite me to their events outside of school? This year, I've attended a fast pitch game, a choir concert at the Rotunda, a horse show, and 2 ballets. Did you know one of my families, I had all 3 sons, called a meeting with me. In tears, her son and the parent could express their concern because the student was starting to hate school because of his 3rd grade classmates that will not stop disrupting and interrupting his learning. Did you know my child and another RPS student play school after school and reenact room clears and calls for assistance on the radio? They even pretend to flip chairs and throw themselves around. And that is all I have for did you know? Thank you.
Thank you. Hopefully I'm right this time. Vicky, nice.
That's hard to get wrong. Just saying. I'm Vicky and I'm the ARIA president this year. So, and I'm going to continue. Did you know I would do just about anything for my students, but I can't because I am thoroughly exhausted from managing their behaviors? Did you know 25% of my students see a different staff member or a pullout group for behavior support? Did you know 3rd grade students don't have an end of the year field trip because RSD won't fund the buses? #bummer. Did you know our staff members have had to visit urgent care clinics because of student behavior? Did you know many students and parents have expressed safety concerns across multiple classrooms, yet students continue to be placed with individuals they've been victimized by, and we expect them to feel safe and ready to learn? We have to stop teaching kids to ignore the trauma. Did you know I've received many parent concerns regarding classroom safety and disruptions, yet nothing has changed? Do we not care about parents' concerns about their child's safety and learning? Did you know that kids are afraid to come to school because the student next to them throws chairs, desks, books, all the while screaming, F all you bitches? Sorry. Did you know on a Friday, special education teachers were told they would be required to complete all academic testing required for student reevaluations without compensation or planning time? This unexpected news sent special education teachers into a tailspin for the weekend as they tried to understand what the district prioritizes and how they would be able to comply with the directive. The decision was then reversed and staff informed Monday morning. Did you know mystery writing was a brand new writing curriculum introduced this year? It boosted the confidence of all students, but significantly in my ML and SPED students. Despite this success and the district's goal to improve writing skills for these students, it will no longer be funded this year. Did you know my own child attends this district and I am concerned about her safety and education being taken away from her? Did you know a student slapped a district office staff member on the behind and received 2 days out of school suspension? But later in the year, when the same student took a rock and attacked a kid on the head with it, they got half a day ISS. Did you know that teachers are asked to do more with less? We no longer have any workbooks purchased, math, cursive, science, ELA, and we spend a good chunk of planning making copies and booklets. Did you know we have a student who was so violent and unpredictable, he was in a classroom alone with 2 adults? Did you know we are leaving students behind and there are gaps in learning due to behaviors? Did you know I won't read that one. Did you know the REACH transition program has partnered with ROOP to provide essential hygiene items to the community free of charge on a weekly basis, providing a valuable resource to many community members while allowing students with disabilities the opportunity to build valuable employability skills? We want to thank you for listening and we would like to invite the board members to have an open dialogue with our members. We're very interested in doing that. Thank you.
Thank you. Feel free to ask questions.
I just have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Were you guys each doing a particular school or were all of those mixed?
They were all mixed up.
Okay, thank you.
We had input from all of them.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you very much and appreciate you coming and
Thank you for listening.
giving us an opportunity to hear some concerns. Thank you very much.
We appreciate you listening.
It's always important to me for everyone that comes to our meetings to know that they're appreciated. And I really wish we have more community members that would come and attend the meetings regularly too.
Really great. We're exhausted by now, so.
Thank you.
We'll
very
try
much.
when we can. Thank you. You good?
With that, are we done or do we have a special session or?
No, we don't have any
We don't.
special session.
Okay. So with that, our meeting is over. Meeting is adjourned at 8:36.